Could it be that he had fallen to a sudden ambush? Such a thought arose in Han Li's mind as his gaze lingered on the wound at Mu Yan's lower abdomen. From the scattered remnants of Mu Yan's memories, he could not discern the precise cause of death. Yet the lingering soul fragment seethed with deep resentment, thick and unresolved. At that moment, Han Li's eyes caught upon something unusual at the corner of Mu Yan's sleeve. He reached out and tore the fabric open, revealing a small white silken handkerchief concealed within. Its surface was densely covered with minute writing. The texture of the cloth matched Mu Yan's garments perfectly, hidden so discreetly that had the sleeve not been soaked in blood, it would have escaped notice entirely. Han Li examined it briefly, and delight immediately flashed across his face. Recorded upon the handkerchief was none other than the mantra domain's secret technique. Judging from its depth and completeness, this was very likely the full version, far surpassing the incomplete insights Han Li had once pieced together from Immortal Lord Miro's lecture. As he studied the text, astonishment grew with every line. The mantra domain was among the most profound techniques of the true mantra sect, a legendary art said to allow its master to give form to words and sway heaven and earth through speech alone. Naturally, such wonders required cultivation at the high zenith stage at the very least. At Han Li's current level, the technique could only manifest as illusory effects. Even so, it had already proven its worth in prior battles. If employed in harmony with his time-spirit domain, Han Li was confident it would become a formidable weapon in future confrontations. He swiftly read through the entire passage, engraving every word firmly into his mind. He finished just in time, for the final time Tao rune upon the mantra treasured axis faded almost immediately thereafter. A wave of dizziness washed over him as his spiritual sense snapped back into his physical body. Before his eyes, the translucent wall of light slowly dissipated, and Han Li stood there momentarily dazed. What the vision had shown him was nothing less than the final moments of the true mantra sect, along with a glimpse of the terrifying might of the Time Tao ancestor. Though these events belonged to a distant past, the impact lingered heavily in his heart. By cultivating the spirit refinement technique, he had already placed himself in opposition to the heavenly court. Now, with his pursuit of the laws of time, he was inevitably walking toward a path that would one day collide with the Time Tao ancestor himself. Even a great encompassment expert like Immortal Lord Miro had been powerless before the Time Tao Lord. What hope did a mere golden immortal have? The Time Tao Lord would likely not even need to lift a finger to end his life. A bitter smile crept across Han Li's face, yet he quickly dismissed such thoughts. There was no point in dwelling on distant calamities. That day might come eventually, but for now, his priority was to grow stronger and survive the primordial land. With resolve settled, he produced a blank jade slip, pressed it to his forehead, and recorded the mantra domain technique he had just memorized. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. During this period, Nuo Qinglin visited several times to offer his apologies, explaining that severe upheavals had struck the beast race. Many major tribes had yet to arrive, and as such, the promised maps would be delayed. Han Li spent this tranquil interval contemplating Mu Yan's cultivation insights. Though he still failed to uncover the link between the mantra axis scripture, the illusory dawn treasured scripture, and the water divination time arts, his understanding of the laws of time steadily deepened. Content with this peaceful environment, he chose to remain. Within his secret chamber, Han Li sat cross-legged with eyes closed, circulating the water divination time arts. As his incantation echoed softly, ripples of golden light surged over his body, gathering before him to form a radiant sphere. Another week slipped by. Han Li remained unmoving, hands forming seals in succession, while the golden sphere before him shone like a miniature sun. Suddenly, a golden vial emerged at its center. Broad at the base and tapering upward, with crescent-shaped handles at its mouth, the vial appeared hazy, yet emanated a profound aura. At its appearance, all surrounding golden light rushed into it. In the next instant, the sphere vanished, leaving only the indistinct vial projection hovering silently in midair. Han Li opened his eyes, surprise and joy flickering across his face. He had merely intended to gain a preliminary grasp of the water divination time arts, Yet he had manifested a clear time vial with astonishing ease. According to the scripture, this feat was exceedingly difficult, achievable only by those with exceptional aptitude and a deep foundation in time laws. Clearly, Hanli was an exception. Was it due to his prior cultivation of the mantra axis scripture, or some other hidden factor? He pondered briefly, then set the question aside and continued cultivating. Chanting steadily, he formed seals as twin beams of golden light shot forth from his palms. Countless golden runes flickered within the beams, fusing into the vial projection. The vial slowly rotated, growing increasingly solid. Before long, it became a semi-transparent vessel that seemed nearly tangible. Hanli was overjoyed. With this, he had completed the second chapter of the art. After calming his breath, he advanced to the third. A month later, he summoned the clear time vial again. This time it was slightly smaller, its surface adorned with countless white star-like patterns. By now, the third chapter was fully mastered. He examined the vial briefly, then closed his eyes once more. As his seals formed, innumerable specks of radiant golden light emerged from within his body, each pulsing with formidable time law fluctuations. Under his guidance, these specks flowed into the vial, where tiny points of golden light began to gather. Nearly a year passed in silence. The clear time vial gradually filled, resembling a translucent bottle brimming with golden fireflies. Hanli remained motionless, bathed in a river of golden radiance, as light continued to stream into the vial. At last, the vial reached its limit. All the specks converged into a single glowing sphere, which vanished into the vessel in a flash, transforming into a time Tao rune. 5 such runes were already present. With the 6th rune formed, the clear time vial emitted a low hum. Hanli immediately halted his cultivation, and the surrounding golden light dissipated. Rubbing his hands together, he caused the vial to vanish. The 4th chapter, which demanded the manifestation of 6 time Tao runes, had once again posed little challenge to him. He stood up, exhaled softly, and withdrew the restrictions around his cave abode before walking to a window in the outer chamber. Night had fallen, and the sky glittered with countless stars. Hanli gazed upward, then formed a seal. The clear time vial appeared upon the windowsill amid a flash of gold. Its 6 time Tao runes shimmered as faint white motes formed within the moonlight streaming through the window, slowly being drawn into the vial. Hanli nodded in satisfaction. Yet the absorption was sluggish. At this pace, forming a droplet of time water would take an extremely long while. Just then, footsteps sounded outside. Jintong entered atop Xiaobai, her brows tightly knit with worry. Sensing her mood, Xiaobai stepped with exceptional care. "What's wrong, Jintong?" Hanli asked as he stowed the vial away. She hesitated before speaking. Hanli smiled reassuringly. "If something's troubling you, say it. I'll watch out for you." "I've been sensing an aura," Jintong finally said. "It's not exactly familiar, but it's very similar to mine, like another me, and it's getting closer." "An aura similar to yours? Could it be another you?" Xiaobai blurted out before Hanli could answer. "What nonsense are you spouting? Do you want me to knock some sense into you?" Jintong snapped, rolling up her sleeves. "And no, that's not what I meant." Xiaobai hurriedly corrected itself with an ingratiating grin. "I meant, could it be another gold-devouring immortal?" "Why would another gold-devouring immortal come here?" Hanli asked calmly. "Can you tell how strong it is?" "It feels slightly stronger than me," Jintong replied, her voice tinged with unease. Hanli's expression did not change, yet inwardly his heart stirred. Jintong was already at the late golden immortal stage. Did this mean a high zenith gold-devouring immortal was approaching? Xiaobai was so frightened it began to tremble. "Master, we have to flee." Before its words fully fell, a thunderous drumming echoed from outside. The tranquil valley instantly erupted as countless figures shot into the sky like streaks of light. Hanli frowned slightly. "Stay inside the cave abode. I'll go take a look." He stepped out just as more beast race cultivators poured from Dark Star Canyon, all flying outward in haste. A beam of light descended nearby, revealing Nuo Qinglin. "How has your stay been, fellow Taoist Li?" he asked with a smile. "All has been well. Thank you for the hospitality," Hanli replied. "May I ask what's happening?" "The insect race has launched an attack," Nuo Qinglin said confidently. "But we were prepared long ago. There's no need for concern." "That's reassuring. Then why have you come to see me? Hanli asked. We will soon activate the canyon's restrictions to unleash a secret technique. No one may remain inside. I must ask you to leave with me, Nuo Qinglan explained. That won't be a problem, Hanli agreed. Allow me to gather my things. Returning to his cave abode, Hanli headed straight into his secret chamber. The insect race is attacking, and there's a high zenith gold-devouring immortal among them. We must leave at once. Xiao Bai cried urgently. What do you think? Hanli asked Jintong. You know what happens when two gold-devouring immortals meet, Jintong replied, her eyes flashing with resolve and killing intent. Xiao Bai hurriedly added, We've encountered others before. At the same cultivation level, they're stronger than primordial true spirits. There's no chance against a high zenith one. We must run. There's no escaping, Jintong shook her head. Gold-devouring immortals can sense one another. Even if we flee, it will pursue us. Hanli nodded. Just as she says, if it will come no matter where we go, we might as well stay and face what's coming. Xiao Bai's face twisted bitterly, but it could only nod. With a sweep of his sleeve, Hanli sent both of them into a spirit beast pouch. Stay inside for now. He lifted the cave's restrictions and stepped out once more. Sorry to keep you waiting, Chief Nuo. Not at all. Please follow me, Nuo Qinglan said, rising into the sky. Hanli followed close behind. As they flew, Hanli glanced toward a distant region of the canyon, where a mass of churning black chi roiled. Dozens of giant stone pillars stood around it, forming an array that pulsed with spatial fluctuations like a teleportation formation. Though surprised, Hanli asked nothing, and Nuo Qinglan offered no explanation. Inside the spirit beast pouch, Jintong suddenly spoke. Xiao Bai, you once said there's a space inside your body completely cut off from the outside, right? That's right, Xiao Bai replied smugly. Then eat me. Xiao Bai was stunned and shook its head violently. Impossible! Living beings can't survive in there. Anything inside will be digested. That applies to others, not me, Jintong said firmly. You won't be able to digest me. Hurry, I'll be fine if it's not for long. Left with no choice, Xiao Bai opened its mouth, swallowing Jintong in a burst of suction. Hanli and Nuo Qinglan soon emerged from Dark Star Canyon. The beast race had already mobilized fully. Tens of thousands of cultivators stood assembled, with some 30 to 40 tribes present. The Longneck tribe was among them, positioned toward the rear. Nearly 1,000 massive black war chariots hovered in the sky, their metallic bodies etched with glowing runes that radiated an indestructible aura. Before them stretched an even more astonishing sight, millions of demon beasts, arranged into orderly formations without the slightest chaos. Hanli could not help but feel impressed. What do you think of our army? Nuo Qinglan asked proudly. It's truly magnificent, Hanli replied, laughing heartily. Nuo Qinglan ascended higher. Ahead hovered a vast black platform over 1,000 feet wide, shimmering with spiritual light. Around 30 to 40 beast race leaders stood upon it. As Nuo Qinglan landed with Hanli, angry voices immediately rose. Chief Nuo Qinglan, why have you brought a human primordial hunter here? The speaker was a dark-skinned, bear-like man at the peak of early golden immortal stage. The other leaders glared at Hanli with hostility. Everyone, please remain calm, Nuo Qinglan said hastily. This is fellow Taoist Li Feiyu. He is no primordial hunter, merely passing through the primordial land. He has aided our beast race before, especially the Longneck tribe. Nuo Yifan stepped forward. On our return journey, the insect race attacked us. Without Senior Li's help, we wouldn't have made it back. From the platform's edge, Taj called out loudly, Fellow Taoist Li is forever a friend of the Longneck tribe. The hostility eased slightly, though distrust remained. Don't take it to heart, Nuo Qinglan said apologetically. Humans and beast race have long been enemies. I understand, Hanli replied with a faint smile. There's no need to worry about me. I can look after myself. You're too modest, Nuo Qinglan said, saluting him. If the battle turns dire, I hope you'll lend us your strength again. Shock rippled through the platform. The dark-skinned man roared, Nuo Qinglan, how can the noble beast race seek aid from a deceitful human? Our enemy is the insect race, Nuo Qinglan replied firmly. To defeat them, we must unite all who can fight. I've already consulted our king. He agrees. At the mention of the king, the man fell silent, and the other chief said no more. You flatter me too much, Chief Nuo. Han Li replied with a gentle shake of his head. I am merely a passerby wandering the primordial land. I happened upon your territory only to request a map. How could I dare involve myself in a war between two great races? My apologies regarding the map, Nuo Qinglan said earnestly. With a wave of his hand, a white bone shard appeared and was offered to Han Li. This is all I have compiled so far. Once the remaining tribes arrive, I will provide you with a complete version. Han Li accepted the shard, swept it briefly with his spiritual sense, and nodded. It functioned much like a jade slip, containing a detailed map of the primordial land. Though many regions were missing, it was far better than nothing. Additionally, Nuo Qinglan continued, producing a bone ring. Our beast race would like to offer a token of sincerity in exchange for your aid. Once we repel the insect race, there will be further rewards. Han Li examined the ring and found nearly 5,000 immortal origin stones within. He weighed it lightly in his palm before speaking. Since you are being so sincere, I can lend my strength this once. But I must be clear, I will not take reckless risks. If the enemy proves overwhelming, I will place my own safety first. Such a sum meant little to Han Li now, but to the Calm Dawn tribe it was no small sacrifice. More importantly, Han Li harbored other intentions, merely using the reward as a pretense to advance his own plans. Several tribal leaders bristled at his words. Why involve him at all? He's clearly afraid. If you fear death so much, you shouldn't have come to the primordial land. Nuo Qinglan smiled calmly, raising a hand to still them. We face a powerful foe. Let us all consider the greater picture. Fellow Taoist Li, act as you see fit. Han Li inclined his head and stepped aside. Nuo Qinglan instructed Nuo Yifan to accompany him, then turned to discuss tactics with the other chiefs. With time to observe, Han Li studied the beast race army and felt a flicker of surprise. Countless tribes were present, yet 3 stood out above the rest. One consisted of massively built, bear-like beings covered in thick black fur, reminiscent of Ulu. Another was the Calm Dawn tribe, whose warriors rode winged giant lizards, blue bows slung across their backs. The third tribe looked almost human, save for their green skin and a single green horn rising from each forehead. These 3 alone accounted for nearly 70% of the entire beast race force. Seeing his curiosity, Nuo Yifan explained, "Those are the Violent Bear tribe and the Monohorn tribe, both among our 8 holy tribes. Chief Ulu leads the Violent Bear tribe." "And the 8 holy tribes?" Han Li asked. "They are the 8 strongest among all beast race tribes. Our Calm Dawn tribe is one as well," she said with a trace of bitterness. If more had gathered, the insect race would never have dared attack. Han Li fell silent, eyes thoughtful. Suddenly, he looked up toward the horizon. Thunderous rumbling rolled across the land as a black line appeared where heaven met earth, rapidly expanding into view. A vast spirit insect army surged forth, even larger than the demon beast host. Behind them loomed an immense gray cloud, crowded with tens of thousands of insect race beings. Clearly outnumbering the beast race, Han Li's gaze swept the enemy ranks. His expression did not change, yet inwardly he was startled. Nearly 30 golden immortals stood among them, far surpassing the beast race's numbers. By every measure, the beast race was disadvantaged, and without hidden measures, defeat seemed inevitable. Grim expressions spread among the tribal leaders, but Nuo Qinglan spoke firmly. "Chief Ulu, Chief Marlin, Chief Sahan, proceed according to plan." 3 figures stepped forward. Han Li recognized Ulu at once. Beside him stood a tall, green-skinned man with a single horn and a body covered in scars, clad in green armor, Marlin of the Monohorn tribe. The third, Sahan, was small in stature, shrouded entirely in a dark red cloak. After saluting, the 3 descended into the army. Ulu swept his arm, summoning a colossal crimson rhinoceros beast like a moving fortress. Leaping onto its back, he brandished a massive crimson axe, battle intent surging. The rhinoceros rose into the sky above the army. "Warriors of the beast race," Ulu roared. "Our enemies stand before us. Defend our honor. Fight! 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 Fight!" The roar shook the earth. The Violent Bear, Calm Dawn, and Monohorn tribes surged forward, demon beasts rumbling in their wake. The insect race accelerated to meet them, though their golden immortals halted, watching from afar. Like 2 titanic waves, the armies crashed toward one another, heaven and earth trembling. Han Li's eyes narrowed, the battlefield filling his vision. the killing aura stirring even his calm heart. Suddenly, a thunderous boom erupted behind him. Giant fireballs arced into the sky, slamming into the insect race. Crimson clouds bloomed, spirit insects incinerated into ash. Han Li turned to see black war chariots, each bearing a glowing red barrel. Spirit patterns flared as massive fireballs blasted forth. Fire God war chariots, Nuo Yifan said. Their power is immense, but they are costly and difficult to make. With 10,000, we could wipe out the insect race alone. Han Li nodded faintly. At once, enormous black shadows rose from the enemy ranks, bursting into swarms of needle-like insects that streaked forward. Agonized cries rang out as beast race warriors were pierced through, bodies riddled with holes. The insects exploded upon impact, perishing as well. Bone needle insects! Nuo Yifan exclaimed. Han Li saw towering cocoon-like masses at the rear, continuously releasing these swarms. Though slower than the chariot's fire, their numbers were terrifying. Casualties mounted, yet not a single warrior retreated. As the armies closed in, the Calm Dawn warriors halted, rising higher and loosing blue-patterned arrows like rain. Insect race soldiers fell in droves, arrows piercing multiple foes before exploding into blue flames that reduced all they touched to burning skeletons. The barrage ravaged the enemy ranks until a shrill screech pierced the air. Golden figures surged forth, winged, scythe-armed beings like humanoid mantises. They darted through the flames, wounded yet relentless, closing the distance in an instant. Forced into close combat, the Calm Dawn warriors stowed their bows and drew long blue sabers, meeting the charge head-on. This is ill-omened, Nuo Yifan murmured softly, her brows knitting together. What troubles you? Han Li asked. These are warriors of the Golden Mantis tribe, one of the great tribes of the insect race, comparable to the 8 holy tribes of our beast race. Their territory lies far from here, near the divine elephant and falcon wing tribes. The bone needle insect nests are also distant. Yet this assault is not only sudden, it far exceeds the scale of all previous clashes. Nuo Yifan explained gravely. You mean the insect race is acting far more aggressively than usual? Han Li said. Exactly. Though the beast race and insect race have long been mortal foes, battles are normally scattered and localized. Never before has such a massive force been concentrated in one place, Nuo Yifan replied, worry plain on her face. That is indeed strange. Fortunately, your preparations were thorough. Otherwise, this land would likely have already fallen, Han Li said calmly. At that moment, the 2 great armies below finally collided. The warriors of the Violent Bear tribe charged at the forefront. Crimson patterns flared across their massive bodies, causing their frames to swell even larger. The enormous axes in their hands were nearly as tall as themselves, and with each swing, vast crimson axe phantoms tore through the air. Despite their numerical superiority, the insect race forces were unable to withstand them. The Violent Bear tribe ripped through their ranks like a storm, meeting no equal wherever they passed. Beast race warriors surged into the breach opened by the bears, pressing forward in a relentless tide. Meanwhile, the Monohorn tribe warriors began to glow with emerald light. A thick layer of enamel formed over their bodies as they too expanded in size. Their horns thickened to nearly twice their former girth, green runes crawling across them. From those horns shot beams of green radiance, piercing power incarnate. Each ray often skewered 7 or 8 insect race warriors before dissipating. Those struck were rooted in place, frozen and helpless, easy prey for the advancing beast race. Though less ferocious in appearance than the Violent Bear tribe, the Monohorn warriors were no slower in harvesting lives. Together, the 2 tribes formed a fearsome spearhead, plunging ever deeper into the enemy ranks. Then a shrill and alien screech echoed from within the insect race formation. The insects before the Violent Bear tribe suddenly withdrew like a receding tide, and from the void surged countless giant black ants. Each ant was as large as a millstone, its black carapace gleaming with metallic luster. Their tiny eyes glowed an eerie green, presenting a chilling sight. The Violent Bear warriors roared and hurled their axes, crimson projections crashing down upon the ants. Deafening clangs rang out as many were knocked aside, yet few were slain. Their bodies were astonishingly tough, and the wounded ants only grew more frenzied, surging forward once more. The ant swarm formed a vast black wave, blocking the bear's left advance as more poured in from the flanks. Though the bears fought savagely, their momentum was greatly slowed. At the same time, the earth before the Monohorn tribe churned violently. From the soil emerged an army of yellow scorpions, each as tall as a man. Most unsettling of all, every scorpion bore a human face. The Monohorn beams lost much of their penetrative force against these creatures, each ray piercing only a single scorpion before fading. Worse still, the scorpions were immobilized for only an instant before resuming their charge, greatly hindering the Monohorn advance. High above, the calm Dawn Tribe warriors were locked in battle with the Golden Mantis Tribe, unable to lend aid. Moments earlier, the beast race had held overwhelming momentum. Now, they found themselves trapped in an awkward stalemate, where neither advance nor retreat was desirable. Gradually, the sheer numbers of the insect race began to assert themselves, the tide shifting to the concern of the beast race leaders watching from the black platform in the sky. "Notify Chief Sahan? It is time," Nuo Chinglin said grimly. A calm Dawn warrior vanished at once to deliver the order. Soon after, a red-robed figure burst forth from the beast race lines. Raising both hands, he released 3 balls of gray light that appeared above the battlefield in an instant. As he chanted, the orbs detonated violently, shaking heaven and earth. From the sky plunged 3 colossal figures, crashing down amid the insect race ranks. They were gray-skinned giants over 10,000 feet tall, bare-chested, their lower bodies clad in loincloths sewn from countless beast hides. Each wielded a massive club, which they swung with earth-shattering force. Their faces were grotesque, each bearing a single, enormous vertical eye and a flat, featureless nose with only 2 nostrils. Their clubs fell like divine pestles, grinding ants and scorpions alike into pulp. Fluorescent green fluid sprayed everywhere, corroding the land and sending white smoke billowing skyward. After a brief panic, the ant swarm regrouped and surged again, swarming the giants. They climbed their bodies, tearing at flesh with sharp mandibles as corrosive green fluid poured forth, eating away at the giants' lives. The giants thrashed and struck wildly, trying to shake the ants free, yet the creatures clung with terrifying tenacity. At that instant, a deep horn sounded. Behind the beast race army appeared warriors with human torsos and zebra-like lower bodies. Each held a large vine-crafted bow, knocking half-foot-long green arrows. Their movements were perfectly synchronized. As they raised their bows skyward, azure light gathered, forming swirling vortices above each arrowhead. The arrows were loosed, soaring upward before raining down in an azure storm. The gray-skinned giants remained unharmed, but the black ants were torn apart, exploding one after another. Elsewhere, more than 1,000 colossal beast race demon beasts emerged, each over 1,000 feet tall and encased in thick yellow exoskeletons, conical horns jutting from their heads. They charged headlong into the insect race with unstoppable might. With most of the man-faced scorpions crushed, the insect race formation was driven back dozens of kilometers. Yet soon, Vajra Spider and Gray Toad Tribe warriors rushed in to plug the gap, and the battle raged anew. "It seems your beast race holds the upper hand for now, but you will tire eventually. The insect race far outnumbers you. At this rate, defeat is inevitable," Hanli observed. "It's far too early to draw conclusions, Senior Lee. This battle has only begun," Nuo Yifan replied confidently. As her words faded, dull drums thundered across the battlefield, followed by strange chanting rising from all directions. The language was neither that of the beast race nor of the immortal regions, yet it struck Hanli as oddly familiar. After listening closely, realization dawned. This is the language of a true spirit. His gaze swept the field, landing on gray-robed figures scattered among the violent bear, monohorn, and calm Dawn tribes. Though differing in stature, they wore identical robes and carried black wooden staves. Beast race warriors danced around them as they chanted. Though few in number, their voices carried uncanny force, spreading across the battlefield, as a peculiar and ominous aura slowly took shape. As the gray-robed figures chanted in unison, a strange cadence rippled across the battlefield. In an instant, the beast race warriors surged with excitement, and some even began bellowing their ancestral war songs as they fought. Though those tribal songs were fierce and stirring, it was the eerie incantation itself that seized Hanli's attention, stirring his blood and causing it to roil without his consent. Hanli steadied his breathing and forced down the unfamiliar emotion. When he looked back toward the battlefield, he saw dark red mist billowing upward from the ranks of the violent bear tribe. Crimson light flared across their backs, within which savage beastly heads took shape, bearing fangs and silent roars before flashing back into the warriors' bodies. At once, the eyes of the violent bear tribe turned scarlet, their frames swelling severalfold. Fangs pushed out from their mouths, saliva dripping as bestial fury overtook them. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" Their thunderous roars shook heaven and earth. Violence and bloodlust flooded their auras as they charged like mad beasts into the insect race army. The monohorn tribe underwent a different change. Green glowing beast projections bearing single horns appeared over their bodies before sinking within. They did not grow larger, nor were they consumed by frenzy. Instead, blade-like bones thrust from their elbows and shoulders, while 8 long, slender bones resembling tempered steel spears erupted from their backs like spider legs. The remaining beast race warriors were also enhanced in their own ways, each tribe manifesting its distinct transformation. "Is this your beast race's bloodlust technique?" Hanli asked. Noyifan paused, then shook her head. "Bloodlust is an apt description, but we call it the totem sacrificial technique. The grand elders of each tribe offer their own blood essence to borrow power from the true spirits we revere." Only then did Hanli realize the gray-robed figures were the grand elders themselves, and the beastly projections were sacred totem symbols of their worshipped true spirits. "If you can borrow their power, why not summon the true spirits directly?" Hanli asked. "Wouldn't that end the battle at once?" "Only the 8 holy tribes possess true contracts," Nuo-Yifan replied. "The rest merely receive protection over their territories. Whether the true spirits aid us depends on the depth of that bond. Even then, it is exceedingly rare for a true spirit to descend in person." "Even in a crisis like this?" Hanli pressed. "There are severe limits," she said. "Outside their territory, their power is greatly diminished, and descent becomes impossible. Here in Darkstar Canyon, far from most tribal lands, summoning them is even harder." Hanli nodded thoughtfully, finding the relationship similar to that between the Black Windseas people and their earthly immortals. Though less intimate, at that moment, one of the 3 gray-skinned giants rampaging through the insect race suddenly collapsed like a toppled mountain. Hanli's pupils shrank. The earth beneath the giant had given way. A colossal sand beast burst forth, far larger than the giant itself, its maw ringed with countless sharp teeth. Hanli instantly recognized it as the same sand beast that had attacked the Primordial Origin City ship, a creature nearing the high zenith stage. The giant's fall delivered its head straight into the beast's jaws. A deafening crack rang out as its head was bitten off, blood spraying everywhere. Even as blood poured from its neck, the headless giant swung its club with all its might. A thunderous impact followed, forcing the sand beast back underground. The giant's body collapsed, crushing thousands of giant black ants beneath it. The ground then churned as innumerable smaller sand beasts swarmed up, engulfing the corpse. Moments later, the sand beasts vanished, leaving only a vast pool of blood. The remaining 2 gray-skinned giants witnessed this and smashed apart the man-faced scorpions before retreating toward the beast race army. Just then, a short green humanoid appeared at the rear of the insect race. Its body resembled a human's, but its angular face and pitch-black eyes were unsettling. Long antennae extended from its head, making it resemble a monstrous grasshopper. It let out a strange cry. Instantly, the buzzing of wings erupted, and a dark green cloud rose and swept toward the battlefield. "Green locust beings!" Nuo-Yifan cried in shock. "How can there be so many?" "They devour everything," she explained grimly. "Even the insect race despises them. They dwell in swamps and should be few, yet their numbers have clearly surged." The green cloud overtook the retreating giants. Knowing the danger, the giants fled at full speed, charging through repeated encirclements. Each breakout slowed them further, and Hanli judged they could only escape a few more times. As they neared safety, beast race reinforcements arrived. Giant winged lizards soared up, exhaling torrents of black smoke that ignited the green swarm. Locust beings rained from the sky in flames. The survivors dove onto the beast race ranks. Where they passed, only pristine white skeletons remained, frozen mid-motion. The two giants finally escaped, their bodies riddled with countless bite wounds. They trudged toward Darkstar Canyon to recover. Unseen by all, tiny crimson beetles with firefly-like tails swarmed toward them, slipping into the wounds. The giants froze as grotesque red tumors bulged outward, swelling to the size of their heads. Before they could react, the growths detonated in flashes of red light, blasting the giants into countless fragments and showering the battlefield with blood.